So Forest docked 4 points, with the Premier League claiming the club exceeded their PSR threshold by as much as £34.5 million. And that punishment, of course, sees Forest drop into the relegation zone. They now sit 18th on 21 points. They're a point behind Luton in 17th. Everton docked 10 points earlier this season, which was then reduced to 6 on appeal. And talkSPORT's chief football correspondent Alex Crook thinks Everton fans will rightly be feeling slightly confused.
I guess it will get Everton fans asking the question, because their overspend was significantly less than that. Why is it 4 points for Nottingham Forest? And of course, the initial penalty for Everton was 10, reduced to 6 on appeal.
Well, I think the Premier League have tried to explain that, haven't they? They said that basically Nottingham Forest have cooperated with them and said right from the start, we put our hands up, we have broken the regulations where Everton did not do that, and that's why, they got fewer points. It's a difficult situation, isn't it, Kaz? Maybe it would have been just easier to do what the EFL do and have set sanctions for breaches, set numbers of points for breaches. Yeah. So if you breach the rules by a certain amount, you know exactly what the penalty is that you're going to get, rather than have to sit and wait and twiddle your thumbs and not know, as Everton are doing again right now, of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked off air about this, and Martin Samuel's done a column about it, and I chatted to Martin a couple of months ago about this, where football was heading, and I always feared the lawyers. Always did. Always felt, is football going to end up going down the road where we end up having legal battles over what a club has done? Are we stopping investment in football clubs by, wealthy owners coming in and adding cash to the club if needed? Clubs are taking on way too much debt. That's happening, but there's obviously likes of Man United and Spurs who have got huge debt but can service that debt quite comfortably. So I have a big fear of what's happening, how they're trying to regulate football. I must be honest, Jeff, I've never been a fan of point deductions. I'm not a fan of. I go back to the Luton days where they were punished ridiculously, that ended up spiralling out of control, and them ended up in the National League. I'm not a fan of it. I think you can find other sanctions that clubs will not like, whether it's via transfer embargoes, whether it's a percentage of your revenue is a fine. So if you had a club like Man City who had over 700 million in revenue, if you took 10% of theirs or whatever you deemed to have an effect on that football club, I think that's a far better option. I mean, even that is a problem, but it's something that has to be done. I remember being on air and talking about this, Jeff, and thinking about Forest. How can they do so many transfers so quickly without a consequence? And now we found out a couple of years later it's come as one. Yeah,
absolutely. I think having points deductions in the Premier League and the EFL just affects the integrity of the league. And my view, for what it's worth, and I'm no expert, is that, if you are found to have overspent, during a specific period of time, the answer then is to stop you spending more. So I'm completely in agreement that transfer embargoes, for me, would be a better way forward. Forest, of course, they responded to the charge by releasing a pretty powerful statement. They said the Premier League sought a sanction of 8 points as a starting point. That was utterly disproportionate when compared to the 9 points that their own rules prescribe for insolvency. In circumstances where this approach is followed by future PSR commissions, it would make it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for newly promoted clubs without parachute payments to compete, thus undermining the integrity and competitiveness of the Premier League. I think the problem there, and I think Martin Samuel alludes to it as well, Tony, is that the clubs who are already in the Premier League, they don't care about the clubs who are coming up. They don't want them to be competitive. It's the last thing they want, in actual fact.
Which has sort of happened this year, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Is it a coincidence that all three, okay, Luton have just got out of it, but apart from Luton, Burnley and Sheffield United have not been competitive. That was clear. Paul Heckingbottom at the start of the season had absolutely no chance. The same as Chris Wilder now, of putting a team together that's going to be able to cope with the demands of what the Premier League other clubs have, and that is a higher quality of player. They suffer when they're coming up. The only thing that's keeping Luton in there, Jeff, is the fact that they've kept this ethic of what got them promoted. They've kept that unity within the squad. to go on and face the Premier League oppositions. I think they've done that brilliantly this year and always look like a competitive team.
Yeah, I mean, look, they have done it brilliantly, and it's great to see the fact that players who were playing for them when they were a non-league side and in League Two are playing for them in the Premier League now, which is absolutely fantastic. I think the profit and sustainability rules, they're well meant, but they're not working, and there certainly needs to be a change. And there may be a change during the course of the summer. I mean, the Premier League are already talking about that, and the simple fact that they're talking about it tells me that they know they've got it wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.